Have you ever been so consumed by anger that you felt completely out of control? Maybe someone said something hurtful or did something careless, and suddenly you felt a wave of fury rising inside you. Or perhaps there are days when even a casual glance, a small misunderstanding, or an offhand comment feels like a personal attack, like the whole world is turning against you. In today's fast-paced, pressure-filled world, these emotional surges are more common than we'd like to admit. From minor irritations to intense rage, it's easy to get swept away by negativity. But here's the real question. Is it possible to remain calm, centered, and untouched, no matter what others do or say? Can we actually live a life where no one has the power to disturb our peace of mind? The answer lies in an ancient, time-tested philosophy: Stoicism. This isn't just another self-help trend. Stoicism is a powerful way of thinking that dates back thousands of years, yet remains incredibly relevant today. Think about it. Philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca lived through wars, exile, illness, and loss. And yet, they remained composed, resilient, and deeply at peace. How did they do it? They practiced Stoicism, not just as a theory, but as a way of life. And today we're going to explore 7 powerful practical methods drawn directly from their teachings. These aren't vague ideas or abstract concepts. These are real tools, simple but profound, that you can start using right now to gain mastery over your emotions and reclaim control over your inner world. So I encourage you to stay fully engaged and watch until the end. Because even applying just one of these methods could spark a noticeable, immediate shift in how you feel and how you live. Let's begin. Number 1, embrace willingness. In the Stoic tradition, one of the key principles for achieving true inner peace is, so as we just uncovered, the first step toward inner peace is to embrace willingness, to meet life with open arms rather than clenched fists. But what does that really look like in everyday life? At its core, willingness means fully accepting whatever life sends your way. Now, this doesn't mean you have to like or agree with every situation. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. Instead, it's about facing each moment with openness, without resistance or resentment. Marcus Aurelius captured this beautifully in Meditations when he wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." This deep acceptance is the key to breaking free from the endless cycle of frustration and anger. Think about it. Imagine you're doing something simple, like washing the dishes. If you approach it with annoyance or reluctance, then every plate feels like a small act of suffering. But if you approach it willingly, perhaps even with a hint of gratitude, the task becomes lighter. The burden begins to fade. This is more than a mental trick. It's a fundamental shift in how we relate to life. Epictetus, in Discourses, reminds us of this truth. Do not seek to have events happen as you want them to, but instead want them to happen as they do, and your life will go well. That's the Stoic spirit of willingness, not pushing against life, but flowing with it. You can apply this even in moments of discomfort or irritation. Picture yourself stuck in traffic. You could spend those 30 minutes cursing the delay, clenching the steering wheel, letting stress eat away at you. Or you could use the time to listen to an audiobook, enjoy a few moments of silence, or simply reflect. The traffic doesn't change, but your experience of it does. That's the power of acceptance. When you stop resisting, the tension loses its grip. Stress starts to dissolve. And here's something crucial. Willingness is also tied to your life's vision. Instead of chasing after shallow goals, like earning money or collecting things, you begin to live for something greater, something that pulls you forward. Ask yourself, what is my true vision? What kind of life do I want to build? When your actions align with that vision, even the hard moments gain meaning. The pain has a purpose. The setbacks feel like part of the process, not a punishment, because when you understand that everything, both the joy and the struggle, contributes to your greater journey, you stop resisting life. You begin to live in harmony with it, and that changes everything. Now, with that foundation in place, let's explore the next powerful Stoic practice, one that sharpens your inner clarity and strengthens your emotional resilience even further. So once we begin to align our actions with a clear life vision and accept life as it comes, something remarkable starts to happen. We begin to experience a quiet yet profound sense of peace and freedom. Think about it this way. When you're forced to do something, like rushing to meet a work deadline, it often feels heavy, even suffocating. Every minute can feel like a chore. But now imagine doing something similar, not because you have to, but because you want to, like volunteering for a cause you believe in or helping a friend just out of goodwill. Even if it's physically demanding or doesn't offer any reward, it often feels fulfilling, even joyful. What's the difference? It's your attitude. When your actions come from volition, from a place of choice, they empower you. I choose to do this becomes a kind of inner heaven. But I have to do this. That's where resentment creeps in. It becomes a personal. Hell, and this shift in mindset isn't limited to big life decisions. It applies to the little things too. Imagine someone throws a rude comment your way. In that split second, you have two choices. You can let it hijack your emotions and react in anger, or you can pause. You can see it as a chance to practice willingness. You might even think this person is simply acting according to their nature. But I choose not to let that disrupt mine. That's the essence of Stoicism, not passivity, but power. You're not giving up your ability to act or improve your life. On the contrary, you're freeing yourself from the illusion that you can control everything around you. Instead, you learn to focus your energy where it actually matters, on yourself. For example, say you receive criticism at work. You could take it personally, stew over it, and let it affect your mood for days. Or you could see it as a chance to reflect, to grow, to become better. The criticism doesn't define your worth. Your response does. And here's the Stoic truth. It's not the event itself that disturbs you, it's your reaction to it. Embracing willingness isn't a one-time decision. It's a daily practice, a journey. It begins with small moments. Accept your mistakes. Approach obstacles with curiosity, not resistance. Let daily annoyances be chances to grow in patience, not triggers for frustration. Because the more you practice this mindset, the stronger you become, and the less the world can shake you. Now that we've laid this essential groundwork, let's move to the next key principle, one that will sharpen your awareness and help you break free from emotional reactivity even further. As we continue walking the path of Stoic willingness, we gradually learn to let go of what we can't control. And in doing so, we begin to disarm the emotional triggers that once held power over us. The more we embrace this mindset, the more we develop a calm, resilient strength within, a kind of inner anchor that keeps us grounded, no matter how chaotic the world may get. Now let's take that a step further. Number 2, stop judging others. Have you ever paused to ask yourself, why do we get so irritated or angry with people so easily? Oftentimes, the answer lies in one simple habit. We judge constantly. Think about how many times a day you catch yourself saying things like, "This person is so annoying. That guy can't be trusted. She's so irresponsible." These judgments don't just affect the people we direct them toward. More importantly, they weigh down our own souls. In the philosophy of Stoicism, releasing judgment is one of the most effective ways to free ourselves from toxic emotions like anger, irritation, and frustration. Here's the thing. We all experience life through our own personal lens. When Someone behaves in a way that doesn't align with our expectations, we're quick to slap a label on them. But those snap judgments rarely tell the full story. Imagine this. Someone is driving slowly in front of you during rush hour. Your first instinct might be to think, ugh, they're so stupid. But have you ever considered maybe they're a new driver, still nervous behind the wheel, or perhaps they have a baby in the back seat and they're just trying to keep everyone safe? What's important here is this. External events don't cause our emotions. Our interpretation of those events does. When we judge others harshly, we create emotional tension inside ourselves. That judgment becomes a burden we carry around, often without even realizing it, and it doesn't stop at strangers. Let's say you have a coworker who's always late. If you assume they're lazy or don't care, your frustration builds every day. But what if, just what if, they're caring for an ill parent or silently dealing with something painful at home? The behavior hasn't changed, but your perspective has. And that shift can change everything. Now, don't misunderstand this as excusing harmful or irresponsible actions. Stoicism doesn't ask us to ignore problems or pretend everything is fine. Instead, it teaches us to see clearly without the cloud of judgment distorting our view. Marcus Aurelius captured this perfectly when he wrote, Next quote from Marcus Aurelius will be continued naturally in the next section. But before we get to his timeless insight, let's pause and consider. What emotional weight could you release simply by letting go of judgment? Let's carry this question with us as we move forward to a Stoic principle that helps us stay anchored, especially in moments of inner conflict and doubt. Earlier, we explored how letting go of judgment can ease our emotional burdens and open us up to greater compassion. Now let's take that insight one step further by learning to master one of the most powerful Stoic tools of all, choosing not to have an opinion. Yes, you heard that right. Choosing not to have an opinion. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You always have the option of having no opinion." And in that simple line lies a doorway to peace. There is rarely any benefit in getting worked up over things beyond your control. The truth is, many of the situations we stress over don't actually require our emotional investment. We trouble our souls needlessly, forgetting that we always have the choice to engage or to remain still. No one is purely good or completely bad. People are far more complex than the labels we give them. Every individual is shaped by a mix of experiences, circumstances, and knowledge. Their actions, like ours, are often a reflection of what they're going through in the moment, not an absolute definition of who they are. Take a moment to reflect. Can you recall a time when you didn't show up as your best self? Maybe you were exhausted, overwhelmed, or simply having a rough day. In those moments, your actions weren't a reflection of your true character. They were shaped by your temporary state. The same goes for others. Picture this. You're at a restaurant. A server accidentally spills water all over your table. Your knee-jerk reaction might be frustration or even anger. How careless can they be? But if you pause, even for a second, and consider that maybe this server is having an awful day or carrying personal stress you can't see, suddenly that anger fades, and in its place, understanding, calm, maybe even a quiet smile. That's the quiet power of releasing judgment. It frees your mind from unnecessary emotional noise and opens the door to deeper empathy and human connection. Now, let's be clear. Letting go of judgment does not mean you approve of bad behavior. It doesn't mean you stop holding people accountable or forget what's right and wrong. It simply means you refuse to let someone else's behavior dictate your inner peace. You remain centered, grounded, in control. Marcus Aurelius also reminds us, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. In other words, when someone acts with harm or cruelty, the most powerful response is not to mirror their behavior, but to remain dignified, to stay calm, to rise above. So how do we begin to practice this in daily life? The first step is awareness. Start by noticing each time you catch yourself jumping to conclusions, labeling someone harshly, or reacting emotionally. We'll pick up right there in the next section, where we explore how to apply this principle in the real world. Previously, we uncovered how releasing judgment is like unlocking a door to emotional freedom. But how do we actually practice that release in our daily lives? Start with a simple question. Is this thought really necessary? When a judgmental thought pops into your mind, whether it's irritation, criticism, or resentment, pause and ask yourself, does this serve me? Is this thought helping me become more peaceful or more agitated? Often, you'll find the answer is no. Now try taking a different view. Put yourself in the other person's shoes, even if just for a moment. What might they be going through that you don't see? Are they carrying unseen struggles? Are they simply different, shaped by a life you haven't lived? This act of perspective shifting is powerful because once you understand that everyone has their own inner battles, your urge to judge begins to soften. You stop expecting others to behave according to your script. And here's the truth. Differences aren't wrong. They're part of what makes life interesting. Just because someone isn't like you doesn't make them bad or their way inferior. And it's certainly not worth sacrificing your emotional peace to try to force them into your mold. Letting go of judgment means more than just kindness toward others. It means releasing the heavy emotional baggage you've been carrying. It means learning to step back, breathe, and ask yourself, is this really worth my energy? Next time someone cuts in line, speaks rudely, or annoys you with a different opinion, pause, take a breath. Ask yourself, is this feeling worth holding on to? More often than not, you'll find that it isn't. When you choose empathy over anger, understanding over irritation, you're not only being kinder to others, you're being kinder to yourself. And in the end, it comes down to one simple but life-changing question. Do you want to hold on to anger, or do you want to live in peace? The choice always is yours. Now that we've explored how to let go of judgment, it's time to face another deep-rooted habit that silently steals our peace. Let's move on to principle number 3. Let go of control. After learning to release judgment and choose peace over anger, we now arrive at a deeper challenge. The desire to control what we simply can't. Much of our daily frustration doesn't come from what happens, but from our need for things to happen our way. We expect people to behave as we think they should, and when they don't, we feel disappointed, irritated, or even furious. But here's the hard truth. The world doesn't follow our script. People act based on their own thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and experiences, many of which we'll never fully understand. So the question becomes, do we really need to control everything in order to be at peace? Or does peace begin when we stop trying to control what's beyond us? This question sits at the very heart of Stoic philosophy. Instead of draining our energy on things we can't influence, Stoicism teaches us to accept them, to release the weight of unrealistic expectations, and to free ourselves from emotional burdens we were never meant to carry. Think about this. You're stuck in rush hour traffic. Cars are crawling, horns are blaring, and your patience is thinning by the second. Thoughts race through your head. Why is everyone driving so badly? Why can't this road ever be clear? Frustration builds. But will it change anything? You can't control how others drive. You can't magically make the traffic disappear. The only thing that's within your power is your reaction. You can choose to be angry, or you can choose to breathe, accept the moment, and maybe even turn on your favorite music or podcast to ease the weight. This principle may sound simple, but don't underestimate its power. Letting go of control can radically shift your inner world. Take, for example, a mother who constantly stresses over her child's academic performance. She worries, loses sleep, maybe even pushes too hard. Yet she can't take the tests for them. She can guide and support, but she can't control the outcome or think of an employee frustrated by a difficult boss. They may feel powerless, constantly upset by unreasonable demands, but no matter how strong their feelings, they can't change their boss's mind. They can only decide how to respond, calmly, constructively, or with grace. In both cases, resisting. What can't be changed only deepens suffering, but acceptance, that brings clarity and peace. And as we continue this journey of mastering our emotions through Stoic wisdom, there's another powerful shift waiting to happen. Let's now explore principle number 4. Take full responsibility. Reality doesn't meet those expectations. We fall into disappointment and sometimes blame. I once knew a young, passionate entrepreneur. He spent years building a tech startup, dreaming of disrupting the entire industry. When his product finally launched, he expected it to make a huge impact. But the market's response? Lukewarm at best. Instead of accepting the reality, he blamed the customers, claiming they didn't understand the product's value. He suspected competitors of sabotage, and the more he held on to those thoughts, the more he felt bitter, stuck, and powerless. During one of our conversations, I gently asked him, "What if you focused on what you can improve instead of fixating on things you can't control?" That single shift in mindset opened a new door. He stopped blaming others, started listening to real feedback, refined the product, adjusted his strategy, and learned to embrace the slow, patient path to success. With that change, he felt lighter, more creative, and in the end, achieved far more than he originally hoped for. This is the power of Stoicism. It changes how we view setbacks and helps us ask the right questions in the heat of the moment. Is this within my control? Am I wasting my energy on something I can't change? Is my reaction helping or making things worse? These simple questions act like tools, helping you free yourself from the grip of negativity. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up or being passive. It means shifting your energy to where it actually makes a difference. Your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. And once you start living this way, you'll notice something powerful. You become lighter, steadier, and above all, free. Next, let's explore the 4th principle for mastering your emotions. Take full responsibility. Continuing from the previous idea of letting go and finding peace by steering our responses rather than fighting the current, let's dive deeper into how to take full responsibility for our emotions and actions. Imagine you're rowing a boat down a flowing river. You can't stop the current no matter how much you want to, but you can steer your boat skillfully to navigate through the water. This image perfectly captures a key Stoic practice, premeditatio malorum, anticipating difficulties before your day even begins. Take a moment each morning to imagine what could possibly go wrong. Maybe plans get cancelled, colleagues make mistakes, or bad weather disrupts your schedule. By preparing your mind for these challenges ahead of time, you become less shocked and more ready to accept them when they occur. This isn't about pessimism. It's a form of mental training that frees you from being blindsided. Ultimately, letting go isn't a sign of weakness. It's a powerful kind of liberation. When you stop desperately clutching at what's beyond your control, an extraordinary peace settles within you. Start small. Don't waste energy trying to change others' opinions. Stop dwelling on the past and release what you can't hold. Life flows like a river, and when you learn to move gracefully with its current, you'll discover the peace you've been searching for all along. Now let's move on to the 4th essential principle: embrace imperfection. In this imperfect world, none of us can avoid moments of frustration or anger, especially when people around us don't behave as we expect. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, why do we demand perfection from the world and from others? Stoicism teaches us that this craving for perfection is an illusion, and this illusion is at the root of much suffering. Understanding that imperfection is the very essence of life is the first step toward freeing yourself from negative emotions caused by others. Think about it. Have you ever felt disappointed because a colleague didn't complete their task well, which affected your own work, or upset because a friend broke a promise, or a family member said something hurtful? These situations are common, yet is it realistic to expect everyone to be flawless? Epictetus reminds us that it's not events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Anger and frustration don't come directly from what others do, but from how we choose to interpret their actions. The chaotic, imperfect world doesn't need to change to please you. What needs to change is your perception of it. Take a specific example. Imagine you've prepared meticulously for an important presentation. At the last minute, a colleague responsible for the supporting materials makes mistakes or omissions that seem to ruin your effort. Naturally, frustration bubbles up. You might think, how could this happen? Why did they mess it up? Building on the idea of accepting imperfection, let's explore how this mindset can help us face frustrations with calm and clarity. You might wonder, why were they so careless when I tried so hard? Viewed through a Stoic lens, you realize their mistake is simply beyond your control. Getting angry only makes the situation worse. Instead of blaming them, ask yourself, what can I do now to salvage this? By embracing imperfection, you not only stay calm, but also open yourself to finding solutions more effectively. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control. Marcus Aurelius famously advised, begin each day by telling yourself, today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness, all due to the offender's ignorance of what is good or evil. Starting your day with this mindset that imperfection and difficulties are inevitable prepares you to face challenges with steady resilience. This isn't pessimism, it's a realistic approach that helps you navigate hardships with a calm and balanced mind. In everyday life, embracing imperfection can completely transform how you react. When someone breaks a promise, instead of reacting with anger, remind yourself that they are human too and might be dealing with struggles you don't see. If you feel misunderstood, stay calm and seek clarity rather than jumping to conclusions. Maybe they never intended to hurt you. Perhaps they simply didn't understand your perspective. And when you encounter rudeness or criticism, ask yourself, does this truly harm me? Or is it my own interpretation that makes me feel hurt? Accepting imperfection doesn't mean giving up on improving yourself or the world. Quite the opposite, it frees you. When you stop demanding that others behave exactly as you wish, you release yourself from constant disappointment and can focus your energy on what really matters. Take relationships, for example. We often expect our partners to understand us perfectly, but even those who love us most can't always read our emotions or needs clearly. Instead of blaming them, ask yourself, can I communicate more clearly to foster mutual understanding? This shift not only reduces dissatisfaction, but also builds deeper empathy. When you truly accept the imperfections of the world, you begin to find joy in its flaws. A careless coworker, an inconsiderate friend, or even a rude stranger becomes an opportunity to practice patience and compassion. Ask yourself, have I ever made mistakes like these? This reflection softens resentment and opens the door to grace. And as we learn to embrace imperfection, we're ready to explore the next powerful lesson that will further deepen our peace and resilience. Continuing naturally from the previous idea about embracing imperfection and practicing patience, let's explore a deeper layer, taking responsibility for our own emotions. When you start accepting the imperfections of the world around you, a new door quietly opens, one that leads inward towards understanding yourself better. Yes, the world can be chaotic. People often fall short of our expectations, and things rarely go according to plan. But do these unavoidable realities have to disturb your peace? Accepting external imperfection is one thing, but the true challenge lies in mastering your emotional responses when faced with what you cannot change. This raises a fundamental question. Who really holds the power over your emotions? You or the uncontrollable circumstances around you? Stoicism challenges us to face this truth head-on. Imagine this familiar scene. You're standing in a long supermarket queue on a busy weekend, surrounded by impatient people. Suddenly, someone cuts in line without a word of apology or even a glance back. Instantly, irritation surges inside you. You feel disrespected and angry. You might lash out, complain under your breath, or carry that resentment with you long after. The moment has passed, but here's another choice. You can pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, is this person's rude action really worth giving up my peace of mind? They may be in the wrong, but your emotions belong to you. Why should you let their behavior dictate how you feel? If you choose calmness, something remarkable happens. The irritation begins to fade. The person who cut in line might never realize their rudeness, but their actions lose their power over you, unless you allow them to have it. Sure, the queue might be a little longer, but your inner peace remains unshaken. That small, seemingly annoying incident simply becomes one minor moment in your day, not the trigger for a cascade of negative emotions. Reclaiming control over your feelings makes life feel lighter, freer. In everyday life, we often hand over control of our emotions to others without realizing it. When someone insults, criticizes, or ignores you, the instinctive reaction is to feel hurt, angry, or rejected. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, why should I let someone else's words or actions determine how I feel? The power to choose. Your emotional response is yours alone. This awareness is the gateway to true emotional freedom, and it prepares us perfectly to dive into the next crucial Stoic principle. Picking up from our last reflection on taking charge of your emotions, let's delve deeper into how to strengthen this control and protect your inner peace. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor of Rome, once wisely said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." These words remind us of a powerful truth. Although we cannot control what others do, we always hold the key to how we respond. Think back to a moment when you were unfairly criticized at work. Naturally, feelings of anger and frustration might have surged. But what if, in that moment, you reminded yourself that your true worth isn't defined by someone else's opinion? By simply shifting your perspective, you free yourself from being emotionally controlled by their words. So, how do we cultivate this ability? It begins with practicing the power of pause. When something upsets you, take a moment to ask, am I overreacting? Is this really worth losing my peace of mind? That brief pause creates a space between the trigger and your response, giving you the precious opportunity to choose calm over chaos. Another helpful tool, deeply rooted in Stoicism, is keeping a journal of your emotions. Each evening, spend a few minutes reflecting on what upset you that day. How did you react? Could you have responded differently? Over time, this simple habit reveals emotional patterns and strengthens your ability to manage them wisely. Taking responsibility for your emotions is truly the key to a more peaceful life. No one can make you angry or upset unless you allow it. Marcus Aurelius also wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." His words remind us that our emotions belong to us, They are our possession, not anyone else's. Protect your peace, and you'll find that nothing outside can truly disturb your spirit. Does this perspective resonate with you? If it does, please like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to hear your stories and reflections. And if you see things differently, don't hesitate to share your viewpoint. It could spark a meaningful and enriching discussion for all of us. Now, as we continue on this journey, let's move on to the next important lesson. Lesson number 6. Practice non-reaction. Life often throws unexpected moments our way. Maybe a colleague openly criticizes you during a meeting, a stranger cuts in line after you've been waiting patiently, or someone casually tosses a sharp remark in your direction, leaving you feeling offended. These small incidents, though, they may seem trivial, can quickly disrupt your mood and stir up anger or frustration. But is there a way to overcome these negative emotions and keep your composure despite others' actions? The answer lies in mastering the art of non-reaction. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Reflecting on this truth, we see that our emotions don't actually arise from others' actions, but from how we interpret them. Picture this: you are publicly criticized in a meeting. Your immediate reaction might be irritation or embarrassment. You might feel the urge to defend yourself or strike back to regain your dignity. But before reacting, pause for a moment and ask yourself, continuing from the idea of pausing before reacting, let's explore how this practice helps protect your calm and turn difficult moments into opportunities for strength. Ask yourself, why should I let someone else's harsh words dictate how I feel? That colleague's hasty behavior doesn't define your worth or abilities. It simply reflects their mindset at that moment. By choosing not to react impulsively, you safeguard your calmness and maintain your professionalism in front of others. Imagine an alternative approach, responding with composure. You might smile and say, "Thank you for your feedback. I'll address that after presenting my ideas." That single moment of calm gives you control over the situation. Instead of meeting hostility with hostility, your poise disarms your colleague. Rather than being pulled into negativity, you leave the meeting feeling confident and peaceful. Seneca wisely advised, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." One of the best ways to master non-reaction is to give yourself that pause. When insulted or provoked, resist the urge to respond immediately. Take a deep breath, reflect, and give yourself time. For instance, if a colleague sends a critical email, wait an hour or even a day before replying. This pause lets you approach the issue with clarity and respond thoughtfully rather than emotionally. Sometimes, silence is the most powerful response. Choosing not to retaliate protects your peace and prevents others from controlling your emotions. As the saying goes, if a donkey kicks you and you kick back, you are both donkeys. This simple parable reminds us that reacting to negativity with negativity only drags us down to the same level. Silence doesn't show weakness. It reveals inner strength, the power to rise above the urge for immediate retaliation. Picture a heated argument where every word fans the flames of anger. If one person suddenly stops responding, the fire gradually dies down. The one who chooses silence becomes the true victor, mastering their emotions and preserving their peace of mind. Pause for a moment and reflect. When was the last time you lost your temper over something trivial? Was that anger really worth sacrificing your tranquility? If you could go back, how might you respond differently? These questions invite introspection and encourage us toward daily self-improvement. Marcus Aurelius profoundly noted, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Understanding that you control your reactions empowers you to navigate life with greater ease. Non-reaction doesn't mean passively accepting everything. Instead, it means discerning what truly deserves your attention and energy. By practicing non-reaction, you not only master your segue gently into the next section, inviting continued exploration. Building on the power of non-reaction to safeguard your inner peace, we now turn to another transformative aspect of Stoicism, finding joy in selflessness. As you learn to remain calm and resist hasty reactions to life's challenges, your soul gradually becomes lighter. The things that once angered or disturbed you shrink into mere ripples in the steady flow of life. When your heart is no longer weighed down by resentment or frustration, a new space opens up, a space to love, to empathize, and to give freely. This shift brings a profound joy, the joy of realizing that sometimes the best way to protect your peace is simply to forgive. This journey leads to a tranquil mind and a heart that grows wider with compassion. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." These words gently remind us of life's blessings and the fresh opportunity each day brings to love, to help others, and to live with a more open heart than the day before. Forgiveness, seen through Marcus Aurelius's eyes, is neither distant nor difficult. It's simply recognizing that helping others brings joy, not only to them, but also to ourselves. Let me share a story. A friend of mine worked in a high-pressure environment, often facing harsh and sometimes unfair criticism from colleagues. Instead of reacting with anger, he paused and asked himself, "Are they going through something I don't know about?" One day, he learned that a particularly critical co-worker was struggling with serious financial problems. This understanding completely changed his perspective. Rather than retaliating, he chose to listen, remain silent, and offer help when he could. The outcome? Their relationship improved, and the entire workplace atmosphere became noticeably less tense. In families, small disagreements can quickly spiral into major conflicts. Imagine having a relative who constantly criticizes you, no matter what you do. Their words may cut deeply, yet often such criticism springs from their own insecurities or pain, not from you. When you grasp this truth, anger loses its grip. Choosing forgiveness doesn't mean accepting wrong behavior. It means refusing to let that behavior control your emotions. Anger frequently arises from unmet expectations. We expect others to act the way we believe is right. But the world is imperfect, and everyone carries hidden burdens. Understanding this can dissolve unrealistic expectations, and where expectations fade, anger finds no place to grow. The true beauty of forgiveness is that it not only frees us from anger, but also fills us with genuine joy and relief. Think back to a time when you helped someone without expecting anything in return. How did that make you feel? Likely peaceful and deeply fulfilled. As Epictetus once said, segue naturally into the next insight, inviting the audience to continue this meaningful exploration. Continuing from the profound joy we find in selflessness and forgiveness, let's explore how mastering forgiveness leads to true freedom. No one is truly free unless they are the master of themselves. Practicing forgiveness is about much more than simply giving to others. It's about reclaiming control over your own emotions. This state of spiritual freedom is priceless, something no amount of material wealth can ever buy. Modern research even supports this ancient wisdom. People who regularly practice kindness and selflessness report higher levels of happiness and well-being. Stoicism, with its teachings that have lasted for thousands of years, understood this deeply. Forgiveness isn't just a moral virtue, it's a pathway to living a fuller, richer, and more meaningful life. Take a moment to reflect. Can you see the situation from the other person's perspective? what might be driving their behavior. Asking yourself these questions often helps ease discomfort and fosters greater understanding. Think back. When was the last time you helped someone without expecting anything in return? How did that make you feel? Reflecting on moments like these can guide you in making forgiveness a daily practice. Forgiveness doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes it's as simple as being patient with someone's carelessness. Instead of wasting energy trying to control what's beyond your power, focus on improving yourself. When you extend kindness, be grateful for the chance to do so rather than clinging to anger. Seneca beautifully said, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." No matter where life places you, there's always a chance to show compassion. Choosing forgiveness is not only an act of grace toward others, but also a gift to yourself. In giving and understanding, you create a better world, not just for those around you, but for your own spirit as well. Forgiveness, then, is not merely an action. It is the key to living freely and peacefully. We have now explored 7 powerful methods to maintain inner peace and remain unaffected by anger or annoyance caused by others. These principles aren't just abstract philosophy, they are practical compasses guiding us toward genuine inner freedom. By embracing acceptance, learning to let go of judgment, relinquishing the need for control, embracing imperfection, taking responsibility for our emotions, and practicing non-reaction, you draw closer to true self-mastery. Along the way, finding joy in compassion becomes the greatest gift you can give to others and to yourself. If you found this video valuable and haven't liked it yet, take a moment to do so. It really helps us spread these positive messages. Don't hesitate to share this video with your loved ones, because even a small message can brighten someone's day. And be sure to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the inspiring content coming your way. Thank you for being here with me. See you in the next video.